Welcome to Under the Fig Tree podcast from the Enrollment Office at Concordia Seminary. Join us as we talk theology and life under the fig tree.
Welcome back to a new season of Under the Fig Tree podcast here at Concordia Seminary. You might notice that I'm the only face that you recognize.
Hey.
Hey. I stepped in about 2 years ago as a temporary host and ended up hosting for much longer than what could be deemed as temporary.
A little longer than that.
A little longer.
Yeah.
A little. But who's counting?
Yeah.
So I will no longer be hosting. So I'm here today to introduce you to our new hosts, but I will still have kind of like a producer, planner role, and I might step in from time to time. So I have our new hosts here. Do you just each want to introduce yourselves?
Mm-hmm. So I'm your new co-host. My name is Daniel Oberdiek, and I'm a first-year seminary student. I kind of landed this role because I work in the Office of Admissions and Enrollment, and I guess I kind of got siphoned into this, which is super cool. I'm glad to be here, and it's been a real blessing to be here at the seminary, and I'm excited to get to do these episodes with my good friend, Pastor Reiter here.
Yeah, and I'm Pastor Craig Reiter. I'll be the new host for Under the Fig Tree. I'm one of our admissions officers. I've been on staff now for a little over about a year and a half or so, but was asked by our director, Pastor Keeker, to fill in this way. Not fill in, to just host.
Oh yeah, you are here.
I'm not filling in.
This is it.
Temporary for
You're
2-3 years. I'm host. I'm stuck.
I'm permanent.
Till Jesus returns.
So just to give our viewers, our watchers, our subscribers a little bit of background, would you each mind talking about when you first thought about going to seminary and desiring the office for ministry? And was it sudden? Did it grow over time? We'll start with Daniel, and then I can repeat the question if you need it. Yeah.
Sounds good.
Yeah. All right. Great. Well, as I mentioned, I'm a first-year seminary student, so I'm just getting going on this kind of journey here. But last year, I served as a DCE intern in Buffalo, New York, a church called St. John's in Orchard Park. Go Bills. Yeah, and I'm married to my wonderful wife, Grace. We got married close to 2 years ago. This summer, it'll be 2 years. Yeah, the desire to be a pastor goes back, way back to second grade, is as early as I can remember. And I really just attribute that to having a good pastor and having a good and faithful God who, I guess, put that desire in my head and in my heart a long time ago. But yeah, I had some good pastors growing up, and I really started to look to them and to see the relationship that they had with my family and really admire the work that they did. So my dad is a Lutheran school teacher and principal, and he's been serving at St. John's in Lanesville, Indiana for over 30 years now, which is pretty amazing. You know, growing up, I kind of had the idea of being a pastor, and then that would go away, and I would think about doing something else, but I could never really get the thought out of my mind. So when I went to college, I went to Concordia, Nebraska. That's where I met my wife, and I went in kind of undecided. I eventually settled on the DCE program because I had seen my dad do Lutheran school teaching, and I really admired what he did, but I didn't want to be in the classroom. And then for whatever reason, throughout high school especially, I had kind of cooled off to the idea of being a pastor. So I was like, you know what, DC, that's kind of right in the middle. I can do some education, still be in the parish. And my older brother had done the DCE program at Concordia, Nebraska. And he still serves as a DCE in St. John's, Seward. So all the St. John's, not that we have too many of those in our synod. I kind of started to experiment around with what ministry would look like, and I took my DCE courses and had a really wonderful experience at Concordia, Nebraska. Had some amazing professors, both in the DCE program, also my theology professors. And about halfway through, I just kind of couldn't shake the feeling that pastoral ministry was something that I wanted to pursue. But what I wanted to do was to see the program through, get fully DCE certified, and at least go out in the parish and do the internship. And I, as best as I could, went into that experience thinking, you know, well, God, if you really want me to be serving as a DCE, you'll open that door for me, and I'll do my best to consider that. And Grace and I had just an amazing experience in Buffalo. It was a super phenomenal internship. Served with Pastor Nate Hartke, who's had like 14 vicars in his time as a pastor, and he's been serving there at St. John's in Orchard Park for over 15 years now. He was just so instrumental in my first year of parish experience, of just getting to settle into what ministry feels like, and was super encouraging to me. So about halfway through that experience, I decided, yep, seminary's next. And he supported me in that, and now we're here.
Thanks for that story.
Mm-hmm.
Your turn.
My turn. Yeah. So I grew up pretty much my whole life in the LCMS, and for you it was St. John's. For me it was St. Paul's. I was baptized at St. Paul Brown Deer, Wisconsin, and then my family transferred to St. Paul Grafton, Wisconsin, which was where I spent most of my time growing up. Went to the local grade school there, and then went on to Living Word Lutheran High School, which was a newer Lutheran high school in the area. Kind of around middle school, obviously, there's confirmation and religious instruction and things like that as we're going through. And faith and people were starting to become more important to me, but I wasn't really so sure about the pastor route. My dad owned a small business called Metal Pro, and they made machines that cut metal and bent metal, punched holes in metal, bent metal tubing and piping. And so I got to work with him over the summer during middle school and high school. And I kind of thought, I think I might want to go into major in business, maybe come back and work for my dad. And maybe when he was ready to retire, then maybe transition, do that business going forward. That's not what the Lord ended up having me do, obviously. As I was going through high school again, faith and people were becoming more important to me. But I still was like, I'm not so sure about the pastor route. I was kind of like you, Daniel. And so I thought, well, maybe I'll be a Lutheran school teacher. Maybe I'll be a youth director, DCE type as well. But just as time kind of kept going on and people kept encouraging me, one of my high school teachers at Living Word, who's actually now a pastor, Aaron Staub, shout out to him. He would always call me Rev as I was going through. And that just kind of, between him and a fellow youth director who's also a pastor, Landon Martin, out in Virginia, shout out to him. Other pastors just kind of kept encouraging me toward going into the ministry. And it helped that I had a few good friends who were considering it too. So ultimately, ended up going to Concordia, Wisconsin, which you also went to. I think you were a year or two ahead of me while we were there. We didn't overlap too much in our friend circles or anything like that.
Your face was familiar when you got here.
My face looked familiar.
Had no idea who you were, though.
Yeah.
Unforgettable.
Yeah, that's right. As I was at Concordia, majored in pre-seminary studies and the languages, theological languages. While I was there, I met my wife, Krista, and we got married during my first year here at the seminary. We've been married now for just over 12 years, and the Lord has blessed us now with not 1, 2, 3, or 4, but 5 children. We had 3, one during our first year, or during our 4th year at seminary, 2 more while we were serving in the parish, and just recently we had twins. Little Lorraine and Jacob were born. And so if I nod off sometime in the middle of this podcast, we're a little sleep deprived right now. But they're so cute, and the boys are really being great helpers. Just even stepping up to change poopy diapers, things like that, which is pretty incredible for 7 and 9-year-old boys to be doing. Yeah, some initiative. So obviously, before I said I was serving as a parish pastor before coming here as an admissions officer, I was just down the river here from St. Louis. I was serving at Holy Cross Lutheran and served there for about 7 years, a little over, and then also at kind of by extension, Emmanuel Lutheran Church in Festus, Missouri. We had kind of a shared ministry partnership where I would go up there one day a week and kind of got to serve as like the semi-associate pastor of sorts, where I would help out in a few different focused areas of ministry. In exchange for that day, Emmanuel would share a portion of the salary with Holy Cross. And so just was really blessed to be a part of both of those 2 congregations for any number of years. And now just thankful to be here.
Thank you both.
Yeah.
Daniel, I have a question for you. You kind of answered most of this, but I'm going to see if you have any more answers.
Yeah, go for it.
You mentioned a couple pastors, but just along your journey to seminary, from second grade until now, what did you have any other people that influenced you or encouraged you to come here? Family, friends, anybody like that?
Yeah, I think the answer is definitely yes. So I mentioned my pastor growing up, Rich Hines. He was a really great influence on me, very pastoral heart, and I definitely looked up to him and had some other good pastors along the way. But I didn't have a consistent pastor growing up just because pastors take calls, and that's how it goes sometimes. And when I got to college, I really got to dig into my first adult relationships with guys who were out there in the synod doing this sort of thing. So I had some really wonderful professors at Concordia, Nebraska. Some of them pastors, some of them not. I especially got to know like Dr. Ginter, and Dr. Ginter is going to be here actually this coming academic year, which is super exciting. So it's kind of funny because he came in after my freshman year at Concordia, and he'll be here after my first year here as well. So I hope to get a class with him at some point. But he and the other theology faculty were really instrumental in kind of some of that formation that happened for me at Concordia, Nebraska. But it wasn't just them. It was, I worked at Camp Perkins in Idaho. I worked at Camp Luther Haven in Indiana and had some really wonderful camp people pouring into me, both pastors who were out for a week or, the full-time camp staff. Also, my older brother was super instrumental. I've always looked up to him, and he was always kind of encouraging me as I went along to, go out and see what I could do in service for the church. And same with my parents and my younger brother for that matter too. But I specifically remember a good conversation I had with my wife, Grace. And it was shortly after we had started dating. Her family had always made a joke that she would marry a pastor. And she started dating me, and she said, "Look, see, he's going to be a DCE." And pretty soon after that, I said, "So Grace, I think I want to go to the seminary and be a pastor. Are you okay with that?" And she just sighed like, "Oh, yeah, it'll be fine."
The best of us always say that.
Yeah. But Grace has been a wonderful support to me in this journey as we've been growing together and seeing what life together looks like, as we've now been married together for a couple of years. And she's always been a great sounding board and also a great source of wisdom for me in directing me in this path that God has for us. So I'm very thankful for her and for all the people that have been influences on my path.
You're here, you're at the seminary, you're, finishing or have finished most of your first year.
How did that happen?
Where did the time go? What have been some challenges, and then what have been some joys just being here on campus in St. Louis, doing the thing?
I'll go back and forth here. The first joy is that spring does always come. And even though winter feels long occasionally, St. Louis in the spring is beautiful.
Yes, it is.
And I'm a huge fan of, spring is probably my favorite season. I love the Masters, for instance, and when everything's in full bloom. And there are some houses, we go on plenty of walks, there are some houses that just have some beautiful blooming trees and shrubs and that sort of thing, azaleas. So it was just so gorgeous to be here in St. Louis in the spring, this past spring. I would say that one challenge that I was probably expecting, but maybe not ready for, was, I would say, the academic rigor. Just with my circumstance of needing to get Hebrew in my first year. So I had my Greek from undergrad, which I'm very thankful for. So I didn't have to be here for summer Greek. But then I came in and I've been doing Hebrew since August. And, thanks be to God, it's been a really wonderful experience. And I've had just a phenomenal professor in Dr. Penhaligon. And I know the language now, which is pretty amazing. I've translated all but 2 or 3 verses in the book of Jonah, which is pretty amazing.
That's awesome.
And it's a short book, but still it's pretty cool to be able to say, yeah, I know how to read this super old language now. But more importantly than that, to be able to interact with God's Old Testament, the Word of God, and to see it in its full beauty and just to learn more about it and to meditate on it as I'm going through it slowly. That's been really awesome. But you don't get a super great skill like that without a lot of work and a lot of rigor. And with the benefit of this new curriculum is that we're learning how to preach, and we're learning systematics and historical theology and exegetical theology all at the same time as we're learning a language. But it's definitely had its own unique set of challenges. So it means a lot of late nights and a lot of early mornings, but that's what we're here for. And I'm thankful for the opportunity that we have right now, especially with my wife working. We've got a salary, so she's the breadwinner right now, and I don't have to worry about picking up too many odd hours another place. I can just focus on learning what's in front of me right now. And so that's been a unique challenge. But I would say that on the flip side of that, I've really come to enjoy the brotherhood that's here at Concordia Seminary. It's just been so phenomenal to get to know all these guys from different ages, different walks of life, different parts of the country, different parts of the world. And they're all here with this single mission in mind of coming in to learn to be a pastor, to learn to be a faithful proclaimer of God's word to God's people. And all of these brothers that I have come to know here at Concordia Seminary have been very encouraging, very instrumental in my, sanity and survival, getting through the days that feel kind of like a slog. But there are so many days that just feel like an absolute joy. And I think a huge part of that community is intramurals or the preacher basketball team. I mean, I'm terrible at basketball. Just ask Coach Nafsker. It's not pretty. But they put up with me, and we have a great time together. And I'm really thankful for this community. It's just been, a real joy.
Even working here, I feel the same thing. So I can imagine that for students who live here with their families, it feels even more like a real community. So that's great. Pastor Reiter or Craig,
Yes.
whatever you want to be called in this podcast, you left the parish to come here.
Mm-hmm.
What was hard about that? And then what have you enjoyed about doing the work of admissions here?
It was hard to leave the parish. I had one other call to another church a few years before. That was a difficult decision. Ultimately was led to stay at Holy Cross. But this time around was led to accept the call to come here and serve at the seminary. And really, I think one of the hardest things about the call process in general, after you're initially placed through your first call, is that no matter what, you're going to be disappointing somebody. And in this case, there's disappointment for my congregation that I have been serving for over 7 years. And to leave behind the people who just absolutely love them. They're wonderful people who just love the Lord, who love their community, who want to see more people believe in Jesus and come to the knowledge of the truth. Some of these people who would sit in the pews with my boys and with Krista, they've kind of watched them grow up over the course of 7 years. And so to kind of leave them behind, we still keep in touch through cards. We're close enough to St. Genevieve where we'll go down to visit every now and then. We'll go back for some of the different festivals. But definitely, leaving behind the people, you're going to disappoint somebody when you leave to go to a new call. When Provost Mudge had reached out to me and had said, hey, we've got an admissions officer opening. We think you would do a good job. What do you think? I first thought, I don't know anything about being an admissions officer. I've never thought about being an admissions officer, but let me pray about it and think about it. And ultimately, again, was led to accept that call. And one of the things that I like to tell guys as I've been serving here is that it's just been a joy because I get to work with a wonderful team of dedicated people like yourself. But just so thankful for the heart of this campus and the heart of the people here for the broader church, to serve the church in a way in which more pastors, more servants of the gospel are formed to go forward and share that good news of Jesus with people. And so whenever I'm talking with people, talking with guys, especially as they're thinking about becoming pastors, one of the things I tell them is, in the parish, I would ask people, who do you know? And it would be asking people, who from among your family, your friends, your coworkers, who is de-churched or unchurched, who needs a church home, who needs to hear about Jesus in this place. Now, I'm still asking that same question to the broader church, who do you know? But it's who do you know who might be a good pastor? Because when I have these conversations with guys, I get the opportunity to say, look, I'm here to be a a pastor to future pastors. I'm here to care for you, to serve you, to pray for you, and encourage you as you're walking through the admissions process. Sometimes it can be, there's a lot of different little I's to dot and T's to cross, as you work your way through the application process. But my job is to be here to walk alongside you, to make sure that you understand, the importance of this work, the seriousness of this work, but also the beautiful nature of this work, that we get to proclaim Christ, who is the only hope to the nations. And so I really just find joy in being able to recruit future pastors. We're getting close to having our class finalized for the year. We're coming up on as we're recording this, it's April. We're getting close to call day, so getting ready to send guys out into the field.
Yeah.
We're getting ready to send vicars and deaconess interns out as well. But we're also getting very close to having kind of knowing who our class is for 2026 and 2027. And that's exciting.
Yeah, that is exciting. Speaking of Call Day, if you've never watched the live feed of Call Day, do it this year. It's really, really fun.
Yeah.
Well, this is probably going to be posted after Call Day, so do it next year. But but do it. It's really fun, even if you don't know anybody. There's something about it. I watch it every year, even if now I will finally start knowing people after being here for 3 years. But I watch it. I either watch it or I attend, and I watch both seminaries' Call Days every year. It's so much fun.
Yeah.
One thing that you mentioned was providing pastoral care to the future pastors. And that's something that as soon as I started working here, that struck me, how pastoral our admissions officers are, how much care you guys provide to our applicants. That's always impressed me. I have to put in 2 plugs for something that, one thing that you mentioned, and then one thing that I want to mention.
Okay.
So you mentioned St.
Yes.
Genevieve. If you are in St. Louis, if you come go visit St. Genevieve. It's the cutest little town. You'll find wonderful people. It's just so charming. Coffee shops, restaurants.
Yeah.
A great antique mall.
Yeah. Oldest permanent settlement west of the Mississippi, 1735.
Yeah.
Genuine gateway to the West.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
And then you mentioned how fun our team is. And that's right. We are pretty fun.
We are fun.
If you want to see what we're up to, follow us on Instagram. We have an Instagram now. It's just CSL enrollment. I run it, so you probably won't see me on there very much, which is fine. To kind of start wrapping this up, question for both of you. What's some advice that you would give to prospective students?
I think that coming into your first year of pastoral formation, being a first-year seminary student, if there's one thing that you can prioritize over everything else, it's your love of the Word of God. And that's something that I've been really blessed to have people who have influenced me really make a priority for me in my life. People that I've really looked up to, like my wife's grandmother, for instance, has read through the entirety of the scriptures. I think this is her 38th run through in her lifetime. Maybe more. I could be wrong about that number, but it's definitely more, not less. It's just amazing how well she knows her Bible. And that's something that if you let it can get lost in the shuffle because there are so many things that we're trying to learn. We're trying to learn languages, trying to learn the 4 departments, the 4 kind of strands of theology. And sometimes we just need to be reminded it's okay to go back to the scriptures themselves and just live there, dwell there, abide with Christ and his word, and he'll see you through. So that would be my biggest piece of advice. There's going to be lots of time to study. It's going to need to happen, but make sure that you set aside some time to just be in God's word for yourself.
Yeah, I'll definitely second what Daniel just shared. Being in the Word of God is what feeds you. It's what keeps you connected with Jesus. We as Lutherans, we talk about word and sacrament, just being in worship, being in study, so incredibly important. I think another thing to keep in mind as people are thinking about coming to seminary is just to remember that you don't know everything. I think sometimes when you start to, and I'll just say this because I feel like I had this attitude at times as a prospective seminarian, you kind of start to think, I start to kind of know everything. And then you get here and you realize, I have some things I need to learn and grow in. And part of that is simply just humility and just knowing that the scriptures are a well that is never going to run out. And we need to just continually go back to them. You're always going to probably see something in a new way. Things are going to strike you from a different angle that again, deepens your faith in God's word, reminds you that you're not in this alone. I think sometimes we can think about that as we're coming here, we're all coming here individually. You're coming into a community, and a community that cares for you, a community that wants to see you succeed and do well. And that community shouldn't be taken for granted. Both the seminary community, the community of your family, your home church, has people who are praying for you and supporting you. Just remembering that they love you and they care for you and they're here to support you as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Katie, I know one of the things that is going on that's exciting for you and for Paul is you've got some transition happening in your family coming up. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so Paul and I have been in the adoption process for the last several months. It started last summer, and we'd been thinking about it for a while, and we reached out to a local agency saying, we think we're interested, maybe, ? What are we doing? Nobody knows. Yeah. And we were probably interested in, older kids, maybe not infants. I don't know. We don't know. And they came back and they said, well, we actually have 2 children whose grandparents are seeking placement for them. Their parents are no longer living, and their grandparents have always wanted to find a family to place them with in an open adoption. And for us, that was just the absolute perfect situation. We couldn't have dreamed it up better.
Yeah.
It's a boy and a girl. And so Paul and I are both going to take some family leave over the summer. They'll move in with us full time once their school year is done. And then we will put them into Word of Life Lutheran School here.
Awesome.
Which, if you have a family and you're thinking about coming to St. Louis and school is one of your worries or concerns, don't. We have great Lutheran schools here and a great tuition program. And Word of Life is one of those great schools. So that's our transition.
That's awesome.
It's going to be crazy.
Yeah.
It already is crazy. They live with us on the weekends right now, and we're kind of getting into a rhythm. But yeah, big transition.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I know that Daniel and I are going to have to do this with our future guests, but because we're under the impression that there's this segment on this podcast called Ripe for the Pick and Leave It on the Tree, and I think that you prepared a few items for us. Can you explain how that works? I
have. Basically, we get to be opinionated about things that don't matter. They actually matter. These things matter. Yeah. So I will say ripe for the picking or leave it on the tree. And you just say, you have to pick one. You can't waffle. There's no waffling.
No waffling.
Is waffles one of them?
No, but that's a great idea.
Okay.
Save that idea.
We'll leave that one on the tree for now.
Yeah, leave the waffles for now. But you have to pick one of them, and then later you can explain a little bit if you want to. So I do have 3 of them.
Okay.
Yeah. So the first one, we'll start with Daniel, and then you'll answer about the same thing. Okay. Right. Ripe for the picking or leave it on the tree. Walking outside barefoot.
I'm going to say leave it on the tree for most situations. Now, there's like the occasional situation where I'll take my shoes off, if it's like a nice grassy area. But I feel like in general, I just don't want to like cut my feet open.
I'm ripe for the picking on this.
Oh.
So the homes that I grew up in, and then also the home that we were living in St. Genevieve, we're both kind of out in the country, and I love just walking out in the grass. And walking on the gravel driveway was not the most pleasant if I ever walked out barefoot. But generally speaking, I enjoy walking outside barefoot. There's something just nice about it. Obviously, your feet get a little dirty, but it's okay. That's why we have showers.
Exactly. Yeah, it's so ripe for the picking for me. We walk our dog barefoot in our neighborhood. You're
I don't
like,
know if I would do
oh,
that.
that's a choice.
That's a choice.
Yeah, and actually the other day I was in the quad here on campus and I just looked at the grass and I was like, all I want to do is take my shoes off and be in this grass right now. It was so like lush and squishy. It was great. Yeah.
Nice.
So all right.
But sandals, Birkenstocks, very ripe for the picking for me.
All right.
But like, just need that little buffer of protection.
Yeah. You have dainty feet.
Yeah. Yeah. What can I say? I'm a wallflower.
All right. My second one, ripe for the picking or leave it on the tree, toasted ravioli.
It's ripe for the picking for me. I enjoy it. It's a solid appetizer.
Oh, yeah.
Our boys, we bought it from Aldi because Aldi even sells, toasted ravioli, just the generic Aldi brand. And
known locally as T-Ravs.
Yeah,
sometimes.
T-Ravs. Yeah, but I enjoy it. It's solid. I think I enjoy toasted beef ravioli more than toasted cheese ravioli. I think if I was going to have toasted cheese ravioli, I'd rather just have like a mozzarella stick,
Yeah.
So, yeah, ripe for the picking.
Yeah, toasted ravioli is so ripe that it's falling off the spoon right into my mouth. I love toasted ravioli. This is probably one of the St. Louis things that I totally get behind. I'm not sure about some of the other unique St. Louis cuisines, but we were just at the St. Louis Marathon because my wife's sister and her husband came in to town and they ran the marathon, and the toasted ravioli was like the mascot of the marathon. And I thought that this massive toasted ravioli was going to actually run the marathon. I don't think that it did, which was a little disappointing.
Yeah.
But it's a big thing. It's a big deal.
Yeah. So for anyone that doesn't know, it's like deep fried, like breaded and deep fried ravioli, basically, I think. Yeah. It's theoretically ripe for the picking for me. I don't eat gluten anymore, but I'm sure some gluten-free T-Ravs exist. I just haven't found them yet.
Yeah.
So
maybe we could find that this summer.
Yes.
It's on the gluten-free fig tree.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, we need one of those. Get that set up. Okay, the last one. This one's a very special one because as longtime listeners of the show will know that there were a lot of opinions about this one. So, ripe for the picking or leave it on the tree. Pineapple on pizza.
So ripe for the picking. I love it.
Oh, no.
I love pineapple on pizza.
I will also go ripe for the picking.
Oh, no.
Sorry, Katie. But
it's a new era.
It's a new era.
I do love a good barbecue chicken pizza.
It's getting worse.
With some pineapple.
Ooh.
Not like ham and pineapple. I don't like ham and pineapple.
Okay.
I like barbecue chicken with pineapple.
Okay.
Maybe that's even stranger. I don't know. But typically, and I'll say this too, barbecue chicken pizza, though I will eat it, is not my favorite pizza.
But slap some pineapple on there and you're like, yeah.
Yeah, well, I don't want pineapple on my meat lovers pizza, with bacon and sausage and pepperoni. I don't want pineapple on there. It needs to be associated with a barbecue kind of pizza.
Interesting.
Yeah, I'm very particular about the pineapple on the pizza.
Okay.
I'm guessing you don't. It's leave it on the tree.
I think
for you.
it's leave it on the tree, but I think it might be really good with just like a bunch of spicy pepperoni and then a little bit of sweet pineapple on top.
See?
I don't know. I haven't tried it yet, but it sounds really good.
Gotta try it.
Yeah. So probably leave it on the tree, but I'm willing to try.
Okay. Maybe I'll try pineapple and pepperoni. Maybe I'll pick up a Domino's on the way home or something.
But you know what you got to do? If you're going to get a Domino's pizza, extra sauce. It's free. Get extra sauce and bacon. Oh, man. This was like our college go-to.
I accidentally ordered a pizza once just recently from Domino's, and I meant to order extra cheese, and I ordered no cheese on this pizza for my kids. And they look at me like, Dad, what is this?
It's like an abomination. That's
like
what
one
it
of those
is.
cats that doesn't have hair.
Yeah. But thankfully, we had some mozzarella in the fridge at home, and so we put it on and we microwaved it. Like, look, guys, it's all good.
It's
and
fine.
they were still a little skeptical, but
we have cheese at home.
They were fine.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Well, now that this has gone off the rails,
Yep.
Yeah, you wanna wrap it up? What do we want to do? You want to keep going for another hour?
Yeah, well, I'd like to talk just a little bit about, because I know obviously we have the name here, Under the Fig Tree.
Oh,
and
yeah.
kind of where that came from. So it came from obviously the Holy Scriptures with the story of Nathaniel Jesus was calling his disciples, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Nathanael, he wasn't so excited about Jesus initially because he learned that he was from Nazareth, and he
Can
told
anything
he told
good?
Philip, "Yeah, can anything good come out of Nazareth?" And Philip says, "Come and see." Jesus tells he tells Nathanael, "Before under the fig tree, I knew you, or I saw you," and that's really kind of how I'd like us to end this podcast as we look at going forward. Is that Jesus saw Nathanael under the fig tree, and he sees you too. Perhaps he's leading you to think about professional church work and going into the ministry. You can learn more about coming here by visiting our website, csl.edu. Tab over to the admissions page, and then just fill out our contact form, and we'd love to be in touch with you. If it's okay with you, Katie, I'll wrap it up here. But that's our episode today for Under the Fig Tree. We look forward to seeing you next time. God bless.